it like that. And then what you have to do is get this flat and down. And it's definitely easier said than done. There. She's in. Nice to have a really flat screwdriver, and that goes in. And what you're going to want to do is you want to get this whole doggone thing together in a big hurry, because you do not want this popping out on you. Your spring goes in here. So this part and the spring go together like that. The better thing to do is put this in. Spring in first. Then getting this on there is a bit of a trick. Get a small screwdriver in here, and you have to work it to push the spring even further back. So now the spring is touching the front side of that, just like that. And you really want to get the cover on here in pretty much a hurry. So oddly enough, I can't find mine. So this is going to have to do. These are most ideally the short flanged bolts. Tighten them by hand. Just hand tight. These do not need to be super. One, two, three, four. While we've got the saw on its side, let's put the AV mount on. Blue Loctite here again. Also, while we have the saw on its side, let's put the dog on and lower AV mount. Flanged bolt. Needs a shorter bolt. Again, I think for some reason they got ultra shorts on these. I don't know why. I do not know why they don't go through. Blue Loctite again. This is a short flange bolt, not an ultra short, just a short flange bolt. Should fit fine. Now, you can see this is squared off here, so you can use a chain catcher there if you'd like. But there'll be a chain catcher here on the dog, so you don't really need it. Why not put the dog on? These look like 20mm M5, they'll probably do. For the dog, I'm going to add my own washers here. And I put this in preferentially with red Loctite, because I don't want these coming out. There's a lot of force on the dog, and I really don't want any trouble. And while we're here, might as well do the chain catcher. Looks like a lock nut on the other side. A little bit of blue Loctite anyway. Nice and tight. Good. And we're not really going to need the decompression valve on this, but I suppose we can put it on there. Touch of anti-seize on here. And you need a deep socket for this or your scrunch. Bar plate. One screw here. Again, one of these little ones. Looks like a wood screw. Nice and tight. Let's deal with the exhaust next. So this is still on there from the pressure test. We're going to pull it off. And what I'm going to do is, this is a tiny opening here. We've got to give this a little bit more. Got to make the muffler breathe a little bit more than just that. And there's all kinds of things you can do. But let's do the super cheap and easy and just put a slot here and bend it out just a little bit. So I think that slot's going to qualify as cheap and easy. There you go. Now you got an opening. Dual port. Cheap. So this piece goes this way because it blocks air over here. Or rather directs air. Goes on like that. Then this. Then the muffler. 2 M6 bolts. I usually put these on with red Loctite. I won't today. Just because I don't feel like it. So the 2 bolts sticking out, usually just take my exhaust gasket, get it on there, and make sure they go in. All you got to do is get a single thread on each started. Then go to the other one. One. You can imagine that this is actually much easier to do, especially considering that the handle is off here, which is far easier to do like this. It's easier just to see everything, and you don't want to tighten it down super tight yet because we still have 4 bolts on the front. 2 longer one, maybe 2 super shorts go in here. Yeah, that might be it. I don't know. Blue Loctite. The regular 20mm long M5 Allens here, no problem. But I do like to put red Loctite on these. With the vibration and everything it does, they do tend to come loose. And I really don't tighten everything up until the very end here. Sometimes things don't line up properly. This actually looks like it's going to be fairly good right off the bat. That can be tight now. Snug these down pretty good. Make sure these are fully snugged here. Good. Good. Double check. Final snug on these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rubber bumper for this top hole. Let's put the spark plug in. Don't forget that. Always nice to make sure that no debris gets down in there. Let's do a top cover. This stupid clamp's in the way. I'm going to grind that out just a little bit. Before we do a top cover, this silly piece needs to go on. This tab needs to go in here. Usually I put the carb adjustment screws on first, then the idle, push, hopefully get it to go down and in. Yep. Gotta push though. Always seem to forget that. Top cover. So if you need to grind on the top cover a little bit because the clamp is in the way, then do that. Just grind on it right over here. Top cover screws are pretty obvious. There's only 3 of them. These are actually pretty nice looking screws. Very nice. One top cover screw. 2. One over here. 1, 2, 3. In case you're wondering, this is where that mysterious M4 screw goes. Single one right here. I tell you what, having a big extra pile of screws helps a lot. Because with a kit like this, you never know what you got, what you don't got. M4. But a 5 mil. Yeah, this is weird. It's an M4 with a 4mm head. It's a big head, small thread. And now for one of the most oft lost parts. That would be this thing. And then the starter cover. So make sure it works. It does. Yeah, there would be no harm in labeling these. Oh well. Who's complaining? So 4 screws, they're unique because they don't have thread here. Do not put them all the way down. 3, 4. Okay. Now you can click this back. Wow, tight, huh? Ooh, that's tight. Easier to do with the handle. Seems to fit right though. That's good. Click that back. Now we can get the clutch drum on. Needle bearing. A little bit of lube, don't need much. Clutch drum should fall on. Uh, 7-pin rim. Washer. And a clip. These clips have a tendency to go flying, so be careful. Okay. Good. So now you start looking and thinking, gee, what parts do I have left? If you find a circlip somewhere, you're sunk. You got to take the whole thing apart. Air filter. That kind of goes on loosey-goosey, doesn't it? And this clicks on. Click just like that. Ah, you know what we could do? I shouldn't have tightened this down. Do a compression test. Oh, shucks. Start looking and saying, what'd you forget? What'd you forget? Well, of course, I forgot something stupid like the choke lever. Choke lever. Goes right on in. Little tricky, but give it a push. She goes. And then it should click. Once you get it in the right spot, click her on in. If you need a pair of pliers, pair of pointy nose pliers, get them in there and click it. Click. There you go. Choke lever in, clicked, then the air filter. That clicks on down like that. Top cover will go there. Let's do a compression test first, but before we even get to that, I need to put a top handle on. By the way, these top handle screws are exceptionally pricey. You can spend a lot of money on screws. So, on this 372, it uses these short ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then kind of a fat one here. So here's the chubby one. Kind of looks like I gotta get these two in down here first. And they are basically cutting thread as you go here, so. Stripping them out is possible and not advisable. Chubby one goes here. Check them all by hand. Okay. Top handle bolts are in. What do you think? Check compression. See what we ended up with? I already tell you, it's not a super high compression saw. $120. $120. See if she even runs. That's a little low. Should check the squish. 36 thousandths isn't terrible. It's not great though. Well, let's see if she fires. Carb cleaner. Spark plug in her. It's kind of a too long of a spark plug wire here. Top cover. On. Choke. I got her to pop. She fires. Maybe put a bar on it and see what happens. Let it break in a little bit. Okay, so this is how to assemble it. The rest is putting the clutch cover on and the bar and chain. So if you can't do that, I can't help you. But there you have that. If you want to see it run, I'm going to try to get this to run at the Connecticut get-together, so you have to wait for that. Parts I have left over. Long M5 bolts. I think those were intended for the cylinder. The only problem is that they're probably too long anyway, so I'm glad I used the shorter ones. I've got one short tank top handle bolt left over. That's good. I'm always low on these anyway. Didn't use the spark plug. This is, I'm just not going to use, because yeah, I'm not. I think this is a leftover, a flanged bolt. Not 100% sure I've got the bolts in the intended locations. Would be nice if they were labeled. But I do have adequate bolts in the locations that need them. I have 3 extra little screws here, and you know what? That's great because I'm always low on those too. This looks like a key. Flywheel key, but I didn't need it. Always nice to have that. Get low on those too. Other than that, I don't really have any other extra parts. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope it helps somebody put together a saw start to finish. You can certainly see some of my shortcomings, and doing a saw like this, I'm doing this all from experience, from memory. I don't have a book that I'm going off of. I've done a number of these, so in general I have an idea of what goes where and what works where. Anyway, hope you like this video. Thanks so much for watching it. If you guys like my channel and you like what I do, the best way to support my channel is to click the link in the description for HL Supply and go buy something. I do appreciate all the guys that have done so far. I do get credit for any purchases, assuming you want to buy some aftermarket parts. If for whatever reason this particular company, which is Huztl, didn't come through for you, if you're missing something, if you want something that's even a little better sometimes than what they offer, you know, a seal kit, maybe a top handle, whatever, click the link in the description for HL Supply. They got some good stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.